All right, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Movie Talk. We had a pretty good, interesting one with Jake and Freddie last time with the WB thing, and tensions were made, especially through Jake and his uh, uh, sadness over the Batman Beyond movie. And so today we have a new segment. We're going to talk about the Sony Spider-Man universe, and we have the same two guests from the last episode, but we got a new one. But we're going to start it off with the top and work our way up. So we have George from Hypeline Supply.
What's up?
We also got Bat Knight, aka Jake,
Greetings, primitives.
and then we got Derek, aka Vanglo.
Yo, yo.
And we're gonna have like on the previous episode, we're gonna have all their links on their socials on the description box below. So please go ahead and check them out. Giving them their support will be amazing for all of them, and especially for me. All right, so today, like I said, we're gonna talk about the Spider-Man universe. I want Derek to start us off because this is gonna be kind of like an introduction as to where this episode is going. So, Derek, the floor is yours.
Okay, cool. So we're talking about the chaotic mess that is the Sony Spider-Verse, but I guess would be important is to talk about how we got here. So I'll keep it real short, but I guess to sum it up is back in the 80s after Batman 1989, comic books took off big time. And at the forefront was Marvel Comics. So they were printing comics left and right. They had a bunch of big writers. The guy did Spawn. I just forgot his name. Who wrote Spawn? Uh, Scott. Yeah, McFarlane. Scott McFarlane? No, it's Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld. These guys all got big at Marvel Comics and eventually did their own thing. So what was going on is Marvel was printing money. They were releasing comics and releasing editions on editions of comics. So you could buy a Spider-Man comic that had 4 different covers, and each one had different values. So people started collecting, and eventually this got the attention of a lot of corporate interests. So a lot of outsiders, non-comic guys, got it and said, "Hey, we want to make money off of this, so let's invest in Marvel." So Marvel continued to keep blowing up. And I sure this guy's name now, but the main guy in charge of Marvel started kind of like taking Marvel and seeing it more as like an asset creator versus like a comic book company. So he started like making deals with like merchandise companies, media companies. So sometime in the 70s, the rights to Spider-Man got sold off to a company. That company went upside down, got sold to another company, and eventually it ended up in the hands of Sony. In 1999, Sony bought the rights for Spider-Man for about like $7 million. Well, how did they get it so cheap? Well, that time, Marvel had pretty much leveraged itself so bad that they were in the risk of going bankrupt. So they lost a major case, and they're pretty much were getting, in order to survive as a company, they had to like divvy out their licenses. That's why you saw a lot of video games with Marvel crossovers, a lot more movies, and then a few years later, you got these Sam Raimi movies. Those did really well, and Spider-Man kind of had like a little renaissance under Sony's watch. So then a few years later after that, we got the MCU was born through Feige and so forth and so forth. And then here we are. We have oh, I forgot part of the stipulation. I don't know all the details. Apparently, it's like a 658-page contract, but Sony has to keep making movies at X amount of years to keep that contract. Yeah, so that's why you see a ton of movies that are all Spider-Man adjacent, but not necessarily Spider-Man. So Spider-Man was almost, as you could describe, like a massive win for Sony because they paid so little for it, and it turned into a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So here we are. What it seems like what Sony's doing is just trying to maintain that contract because it's like their golden goose.
Good lord. And now we're stuck with what is known as Sony Spider-Man universe. I presume this is where we're getting at, correct?
Yeah, this brings us to this is like that's like the long and short to bring us to the present.
And then, so we got I literally got all these guys to sit back and relax and enjoy these 5 garbage freaking movies. And
Enjoy, he says.
I mean, let's start off with like okay, let's start off with Venom. All right, Venom. So when Venom was announced, I was hyped because Venom is the character I really wanted to see get some hype, especially after we saw freaking Eric Foreman in Spider-Man 3. I don't know what some fans thought about that. Do you guys want to start off with what y'all thought about that Venom versus what we got with Tom Hardy? Let's go ahead and start with that.
Yeah, it was. It's kind of night and day. It's like you're comparing apples to oranges at this point because, you know, I for those that know me, they know Spider-Man has a special place in my heart. I think I said this last episode too, but
You really did. Mhm.
Spider-Man, yeah, there you go. Spider-Man definitely has a special place in my heart, especially with the Raimi movies. I went to the theater for every single one of them, and Spider-Man 2 is arguably one of the better and maybe even best superhero movies, you know? And when we got Spider-Man 3 and obviously we got what we got, it's like knowing what we know now, obviously that's not what Sam Raimi wanted. He wanted to do a full story with Vulture. He had a script ready and everything for Spider-Man to face off with the Vulture, but of course, Derek said it earlier, non-comic book guys stepped forth and said, "Hey, we at the toy companies want you to include not only Venom, but Sandman and Green Goblin's kid to face off against Spider-Man as a pseudo early version of the Sinister Three. I mean, Sinister Six." And we got a slap because obviously you could tell with the script writing and the storytelling for those characters, it's obviously not what we wanted. And comparing that to this Venom is like, it's hard to say because while Tom Hardy's Venom is not the worst thing in the world, it's definitely not the best. They had fun. I will give them that. It looks like they had a lot of fun making these movies and making the dude bro version of Venom, so to speak. And I liked certain characteristics of it. You know, it went away from the symbiotic relationship of Venom and Eddie Brock. Instead, we got two stoner roommates and they happen to be rocking the same body, which in itself is, again, not the worst, but I think another word that I'll be using a lot tonight is disappointing
Right.
because there's absolutely potential for any of the Spider-Man villains to get their villain movie, not anti-hero or just straight up vigilante hero good guy, because it's like, no, these are villains, so let's give them a villain story. So I guess to sum up my opinion, I would absolutely say that Tom Hardy's Venom is without a doubt better than Eric Foreman's Venom.
George, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Jake there. I'm trying to remember when it came back. When it came out back in 2018, I think it was. It was something different at the time. It was kind of we'd never seen that before, right? Like this kind of character, Venom, having his solo movie. So I remember thinking like, oh man, this is gonna be pretty awesome. And it was just okay. I remember when I watched it, I was just thinking like, it's all right. Like, it didn't really hit the marks for me personally. Um, I don't know. It was kind of like it was a different take from the Eric Foreman Venom that we saw in the Raimi verse Spider-Man movies. It was a lot, I guess, in a way, like darker, grittier compared to those movies. But I mean, I was doing some research and I googled like how much it made uh, for this first Venom movie, and it was over $800,000 worldwide. So it made some money, but it wasn't. It was almost subpar in that sense. Like it was just kind of like, it was mid.
The advertisement for the movie itself, I mean, they did that. Sony or Columbia did a really good job with the advertising because they got Eminem to sing the song for the first movie, right? The trailers were freaking awesome. Like they really were hyping up the character. But I feel like when we got to see the movie, like Jake said, we got a bro movie, like a buddy cop movie. That's what it felt like we were watching. That's how I felt watching it.
Yeah, I agree.
For the Eric Foreman Spider-Man 3 Venom that we got, I feel like he was more of a whiny Venom in that movie, in my opinion. Like he had so much hate for the Peter Parker character that it turned out to be whiny for me, which is the reason why I didn't like it. Now, other people might think otherwise, but for me, that's how I thought. Now, Derek, what do you think?
Personally, I wasn't a fan of either Venom. When I heard Venom was going to be in Spider-Man 3, I was pretty hyped because, oh, this is going to be cool. One of my like all-time favorite comic book characters was going to be in a movie because for me, like Venom was awesome. I used to watch, I don't know if you probably you guys watched it too, like the Spider-Man TV series, I think in 93, 94 that came out on Fox.
On Fox Kids? Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah. And that for me was like peak like Venom at the
Yes.
time, you know? So that was my expectation of, okay, this is going to be what we're going to see in the movie. Well, the movie was a huge letdown, and it's not because of like Raimi, like Jake brought out. It was like corporate interests saying you got to do this and that, and pretty much shoehorned everything in.
We literally only got Venom for like what 30 minutes on the film.
Maybe
Yeah,
less.
the tail end, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was
and-
all in the third act of the
What were you
movie.
thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really like you could tell it was like we didn't know what to do with this movie, but we just know we have to put him in it.
We gotta
So-
sell toys.
No,
That's what
Pretty
see,
much.
I think
Literally all
I
it
think,
is.
I think I read that Raimi didn't want him in the movie, but he was forced to put him in because
Yeah,
the movie
yeah.
was mainly supposed to be about the Sandman, which was great because the Sandman character was I think the Sandman character was written better than the other two villains.
Oh yeah,
I think-
definitely.
If I remember correctly, I think Sandman was without a doubt one of the characters that Raimi put a lot of effort in because he was, a part of the original script. But like Derek said, they just had to shoehorn in Venom because, toy sales, which don't get me wrong, those toys way back when, they were freaking awesome. I would, tell my parents, hey, can I get the Spider-Man toy? They're like, no, you have one already. Shut up. I'm just kidding. Anyways, no, same thing. Those toys, they sold, and that's the problem. They earn money through these like nasty ways, and then they think, oh, this is good. Let's do that again.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
We didn't have that issue with this current Venom movie. Now, let's get back to what Derek was saying. Go ahead, Derek. Go ahead and finish what you were thinking.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, so when they announced this upcoming Venom movie, I was pretty hesitant because it like a Venom movie without Spider-Man just seemed off to me because Venom was kind of derived from Spider-Man, and with Spider-Man's kind of for a long time his most dangerous like his not rival but his most dangerous antagonist because he was like everything Spider-Man was but like better in a way. So again, that's why one of my really cool costume, my favorite characters. So the idea of him being in his own movie had me kind of like pause. And then I watched the movie and I was like, it's okay. It's a great place to start. But I had hoped like maybe by movie 2 or 3 they would integrate Spider-Man into the movie. And I was disappointed that never happened.
I had heard that it was supposed to happen, but for some strange oddball reason they went with introducing Carnage in the second movie. Oh God, that one. Anyway,
Your
so,
favorite Carrot Top.
Uh, oh.
So let's jump right into the Carnage film, and we'll work our way through the trilogy first. Because I mean, let's just stick with Venom for now. But with the Carnage film, I personally had high hopes for Carnage to be in the movie because that's one of the villains I really liked. Like I liked Venom, but Carnage was ultimately my favorite Spider-Man villain. And to see the way they massacred him with Woody Harrelson, oh. Go ahead, guys. You guys started off. One of y'all.
No, I agree with you, Sam. I also one of my favorite characters was Carnage. So, seeing him in the movie, I was really hyped for it. You know, I was thinking I was gonna be pretty awesome. It was gonna be sick. But it was sick in the wrong way. It was sick that hurt my stomach, kind of sick. You know, like it was just pretty bad. The plot was just
Yeah.
terrible for me. It was a lot. I think it was a lot worse than the first Venom film. What about you guys?
Yeah, it was bad. There was maybe one, and this is me being nice, just one cool scene where Carnage is like in the lightning storm and he's like, "Let there be carnage," and as he says that, lightning strikes. Is like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." And then that immediately died with the rest of the movie. It's like, ay, ay, ay.
I think
And
the prison break scene was also pretty good in my opinion when he was breaking out as Carnage.
yeah,
I don't know if y'all remember that part, but for me that's probably the most memorable scene in that film.
Yeah, I actually don't even remember that part. I would
I'm
say
not gonna
the
lie,
part that
I'm a little lost. I'm like,
yeah, the
that
part that I
happened?
remember was the last battle that they had at the was it at the church? Or they were at am I tripping? Was it a church or a cathedral or something?
Honestly, I don't remember, dude. That's the only thing I remember from that movie because it really annoyed the hell out of me.
Was it
Say
a
that
drive-through chapel?
man, I can't. No, I think it was a church or something. At the very end when Venom and Carnage are fighting. But yeah, it was and some of the other characters that were in there. Uh, what was his name? What was the love interest of Cletus Cassidy? I forgot what she was. She had that like screeching power.
Banshee? Silver Banshee?
Yeah, yeah. Was it Banshee?
Probably.
Yeah, I didn't like that character in the movie. I thought it was
Yeah,
pretty weird.
that's pretty much what they do with this franchise. Is just they add characters and they don't know what to do with them.
Well, I think the biggest problem with Carnage is like that movie premise itself was kind of doomed from the start because if you remember if the comics, Carnage was straight up murdering people like horrendously, and with these movies they had to make them PG-13, so you were never gonna get that level of like carnage that you saw in the comics. And with Carnage, it was a pretty well drawn out. It was an entire story arc, Maximum Carnage. There was even a video game where you got to play as Spider-Man and Venom to stop Carnage because they had to team up. It was like I think Spider-Man and Venom's first like big team up because it was like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So,
Yeah.
so that was part of like what made that series, that arc so good, and that was missing from this movie because there's no Spider-Man, and it just felt so abrupt. Oh, second movie we already have Carnage. And like a Carnage, they couldn't even like do the justice of like because Cletus Cassidy, homicidal maniac, and then Carnage, another like just they were like kind of meant for each other as being both bloodthirsty entities.
I feel like they pulled the Justice League by pulling out one of the Spider-Man's worst villains too soon, like they did with the Justice League and Abomination. Yeah, it was a hot mess, and
Yeah, so
yeah,
so I just googled the character because I couldn't remember. So the character's name was Shriek, was the love interest of Carnage.
yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah,
Shriek.
and it was yeah, it was just I don't know because to me it was like okay, Carnage is the villain. Like we're trying to I guess make him seem like oh we know the reasons why he's doing all these stuff because they took Shriek away from him and blah blah blah, like they're trying to I guess make us feel some type of way to understand why he's doing it. But yeah, it's kind of like what Derek said, like we want to see all the carnage but we weren't ever going to really ever see it, just because it's a movie for the general audience.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like you guys said earlier as well. It would have been a lot better if they pulled a no punches R-rated Carnage film.
mhm.
Because if they would have had that with no bars and no barriers, I think the movie would have done a whole lot better. And like Derek said, with the introduction of both Spider-Man and Venom together in the same film, similar to Maximum Carnage.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a Wolverine situation where he does nothing for 20 years as Wolverine until his last movie where they finally let him go buck wild.
Hmm.
Maybe later on we finally get that fully rated R Carnage movie where he's eating babies or something.
I mean, that would be an interesting watch, but who knows? Like, I mean, the universe is dead, and they might actually try to do something in the future, but who knows? But the last movie in the Venom trilogy was The Last Dance. I personally didn't get a chance to watch it because after Carnage, I just couldn't put myself to watch it. So if you guys have seen it, go ahead and say your thoughts with it. I heard it's not that bad. I heard it's actually better than Carnage. I just never got a chance to watch it. So the floor is y'all's.
Man. I'm I saw it. I saw it and man, I thought it was terrible. It was horrible to watch. I would probably put the Carnage just slightly worse. But yeah, still just terrible. A terrible watch. I was like the only probably the the potential it had was Noel, and like that would have been something cool to see. But he really didn't do much in the movie. Like, um, he just pretty much sent like the symbiotes to go find Venom and yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? The
We
ones who
had
did
to
watch
have
it.
a we had to have time to watch Venom and Mrs. Chang dance, man. Come on.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
who
that was
who
memorable. Yeah,
who needs structured story when you have that? It's
you're
like
true, bro. You're true.
exactly. It's like we don't need any of that. We don't need character development in this economy. Get out of here, George.
Yeah, you know what? That was the best part of the movie was the dance.
Like, is that why it was
You
called The
say it
Last
was
Dance? Like, honestly?
you dang it, Sam, you stole my
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Hey, follow the script, Sam. Follow the script.
Oh, man. Well, I guess if you guys didn't really catch that movie, it went under the radar like it did for me. I guess we can leave it as a dead stick at that point.
As
Yeah.
a meh at this
Did
point.
you watch it, Derek?
No,
Oh man.
I
Good
did.
man.
Yeah, it's.
You
I'll
sank
get to it
yourself.
eventually, but it's like I don't know. After the first two, I was like, I just couldn't bring myself to like. Oh man.
I felt the
Yeah.
exact same way.
So the only ones who saw it was me and Jake.
Pretty much.
Probably.
Okay.
The sad part is I forgot everything about it already.
Yeah.
Just that.
I just remembered too was which I didn't get in the movie, and I don't know if you remember Jake that family that was like into the alien conspiracies and stuff. Uh, you remember that?
Right. Barely, but go
Okay.
for it.
Yeah, it was just like I felt like they gave too much camera time to this one family. Um, and I was just like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't care about this family that's like into like the dad of it was like, super alien conspiracy theorist type of guy. And yeah, I was like, this is so stupid. Like, I was like, why are we focusing so much on this guy and his family? Um, and then they're like, you see them in the probably I think it was like the first act of the movie, and then they come back in the third act. And I was just like, really? Like, come on.
It's like
Anyways, sorry.
whoever hired them probably owed like the director probably owed them a favor. Like, hey, in your next movie, you put me in there and bring my family too.
Yeah.
Why?
It was that bad,
It
huh?
was it was a mess, dude.
Yeah,
But
it was a mess, dude.
that's pretty much, I guess, the epitome of the I guess final breakdown of the Venom air quote trilogy. is a mess. It's
Mhm.
just doing things for the sake of doing things.
It was a huge mess. Like,
Oh, and the way it ended too, Jake, that it ended on that song. Was it Maroon 5?
I think so, yeah, if I
Uh,
remember correctly.
uh, it was playing at the very end as
Mhm.
like a farewell. I forgot what the
Yeah,
song was,
yeah.
but I was just like, I don't know. I just felt like
This is kind of cringy.
the music and the soundtrack for the movie was like just terrible too. Like just so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. No, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
oh my
My
god,
brain
I
is
am
hurting.
so glad I was able to skip that movie because the way you guys are putting it out it would have been a waste of time. It
No,
might
you
have
need
been
to
a lot of
watch it.
waste of time.
Yeah. If you want to torture somebody, put on Venom: The Last Dance on repeat.
Okay, so would you say that one is worse than Madam Web? We're getting there, guys. Don't worry about that. That's gonna be the main course.
My anger. Anyways,
Madam Web's gonna be the main course. So let's talk about Morbius a little bit because that movie was another
it's
one.
Morbin time.
The
Yeah.
meme.
Yeah.
They dogged that movie so bad they tricked Sony into thinking it was great so they could re-release it into theaters only for it to lose more money. It
Wait a
was
minute. I
perfect.
thought that actually happened. That was real.
Yes, that was real. People were hyping it up on like online and saying, "Oh, Morbius is so good, yada yada yada." And the old timers at Sony were like, "This is perfect. Re-release it to theaters." And nobody watched it. It was just so Sony could waste it and lose more money.
Dude,
Yep.
I went to go see that movie in theaters and I think I fell asleep
What?
watching it
Why?
because I do not remember any of it.
That's why would you go to theaters to watch that?
Why would you spend money on
I
that?
don't know, man. I tried to give the Spider-Man universe a second chance after Venom, and I don't know.
When,
The
when, did,
sad
when did,
part
did
is,
that come out after the first Venom?
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
in between the second one, the Carnage one?
yeah.
Okay.
the problem is it was kind of it was essentially false advertising because they made it look like it was going to tie into the Raimi verse because in one clip, put picture up now, it'll show that Morbius is standing in front of a like graffiti of Raimi's Spider-Man with the words murderer painted over it. And everyone was freaking out and everyone's like, dude, finally we're getting some connection to the Sony Spider-Man verse. Like, yes, please. And people were theorizing, me included, like, wow, they're gonna add Toby Spider-Man into Morbius, maybe? Question mark? Please? And then no, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
They took it's like they took my wallet, maxed out my credit cards, gave me the wallet back, and said, "Thank you for your service."
Yeah, they put that in the trailer, and that whole scene was not even in the movie.
Nope.
So it was just straight up misleading the crowds.
Did
Yeah.
you watch Morbius or no?
I watched the summary.
You watched the summary. Okay, so you didn't really
Yeah.
watch the film itself.
No, I watched a summary / review of it, and again, it's one of those movies that didn't have to happen. It's like again a Spider-Man adjacent character that you should I think you shouldn't be making Spider-Man adjacent characters without Spider-Man actually in the movie. And like what I think what Jake said about this whole like making every villain into an anti-hero isn't a good idea. But on that note, I know why they're doing it. Like we can talk about it eventually, but this is all Sony. The whole Sony has a contract to keep Spider-Man. They have to keep pumping out a movie. Is why we're getting these garbage movies. So it's like that's why the people say like the Spider-Verse is dead, but this is still because we're gonna get more of this garbage.
So you really think that after they sealed the coffin with Craven, we're still gonna get more of this movie?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Like, yes, these movies are bad and they don't make a lot of money, but they're at the end of the day, they're tax write-offs because Sony is still making bank off of everything else. You've got the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man toys, the Spider-Verse stuff. That's all still Sony.
Association with Marvel.
Yeah, so they get a little chunk of that Tom Holland movie money. So Sony is still making a lot of money off of this. and all they have to do is take a small hit every once in a while with a crappy movie just to keep their big Spider-Man contract. So I think we'll still see more.
Oh God, I thought we were done with this, man. See, my dream would have been that keep the contract, but let the Marvel writers at Disney write the script because apparently they know what they're doing over there. We all saw No Way Home, and that movie was possibly one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen in my entire life, right next to Spider-Man 2, like Jake said earlier.
Yeah, yeah, those were good. I mean, to me, for the Spider-Man, like the Spider-Verse movies, or Across the Spider-Verse movies, are to me top notch. Even though they aren't the live action Spider-Man movies, but
Yeah.
man, I can rewatch them. I'm excited for the third one to come out. I think they said
2026, I think.
seven
Or
or
27. 27.
I think 20. I can't remember, but
I
yeah.
don't care how long they take because animation in itself, we talked about this last time. Animation in itself is a whole process and a half. The last thing you want to do is rush anybody on a project that's animated. So, and it's great that you bring that up, George, about the animated Spider-Verse movies because this is why I say I'm disappointed because Sony, they have potential to release premium Spider-Man related content, whether that's with Miles, Peter B. Parker, with like Penny Parker and Spider-Man Noir. It's like there's absolutely potential for
Spider-Gwen.
greatness. Spider-Gwen, it's like they have the writing chops to make an amazing movie, but they just either outright refuse or, as we've been saying, they know that what they've got is a golden goose and they don't want to let it go. So they're just going to keep releasing slop and expecting us to say, thank you, sir. May I have some more?
Yeah, let's keep pumping up garbage so that way we'll pump out about 10 or 11 pieces of trash and then we'll give you gold. So you sit down and watch our last 10 garbage movies and then we'll give you Spider-Man Across the Universe Part 3 or whatever it is, whatever they're gonna call it, Beyond the Universe, whatever. And that's the problem that I have with this universe is the fact that they have the characters to make great films, but they're just wasting their time with poorly written scripts and actors that pretty much know that they don't want to be there. Like Jared Leto, I felt like he was just like a zombie the entire movie in Morbius.
No, I think he wanted that role.
You think so?
Yeah,
He's weird like that.
yeah. Jared Leto's a weird guy.
I think he had
He's
more fun
hiding.
being I think he had more fun being the Joker than being Morbius, honestly.
No, don't even talk about that. No,
Leto's high on his own supply. Honestly, this
Yeah.
guy like
He
I don't
really
know,
is.
because he's one of those like method
he's a
actors
legend in
and
his own
stuff.
mind.
So he always tries to get into character, and I forget. I remember reading something a while back ago. It was like an article about him, and whenever he was doing Morbius, like he was trying to, because he's like a method actor and this and that, and he, because the character, right? He has like this degenerative disease, and so I think he was trying to like get to know what, like, how it is to have that sickness and try to figure out how to play it well and stuff. And yeah, so this is what you guys said. He's high on his own supply, man. Yeah.
He's a weirdo.
He's a weirdo. All right. So, all in all, Morbius, boring. Derek only read
Unnecessary.
Sony, so he doesn't really know much about it. Jake, George, y'all both disliked that, I presume.
Yeah.
Morbius, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we putting that below The Last Dance?
Below The Last Dance? All right. What do you think?
Or what do you guys think?
I would say it's hard because they're kind of like on equal footing. It's like you put two piles of crap together. Which one's the smelliest at this point? They're just both
If I had to force you to watch one, which one would you watch? You have
Morbius.
You'd watch Morbius over The Last Dance?
If I had a choice, yeah, I would pick Morbius.
I would rather watch a
that
Venom
one?
movie than a
Yeah,
Morbius
I would
movie.
watch. I would watch
For
Venom
me,
all day.
For me, with the Morbius one, at least I could sit through there remembering the memes and the shame that Sony went through when they re-released it. Like that's the only thing that would get me through that movie.
Yeah, I don't
disagree.
know. I don't know. I'll take crappy Venom over Morbius any day.
Now, would you watch the Carnage film over Morbius, Derek, or would you watch Morbius over Carnage?
I'd watch Carnage over Morbius.
Same.
Like
Okay.
Morbius is like like a D-list villain at this point. Like who cares? No one's cared about Morbius since '94. So like whatever.
Yeah, I guess like y'all mentioned earlier, I think it really made me mad was the fact that they teased us with the whole Tobey Maguire thing in the trailer, and that hyped me up for it, and then it just didn't even happen. So, I mean, not only that, but the movie was so freaking boring. I just couldn't.
I mean,
And
you
nothing
paid money to go
happened.
see it in
I
theaters.
know
It's
that's what
crazy.
pisses me off. Is the fact that I actually spent hard-earned cash that I worked for to go watch that garbage.
You put money into Sony's pockets, kissing the ring and saying thank you, sir. Good job, Sam.
ring.
You're the problem.
I'm the problem, yes, because I saw both Venom movies, and then that one in theaters, and I
Good
thought I would
Lord.
have learned my lesson, but apparently not. God. All right, but before we walk into the next one, which was supposed to be Madam Web, I want to talk about Craven because I know Madam Web's going to take up the majority of this segment. But Craven was the last film in the universe, and it's pretty much the nail that sealed the coffin for the universe for now, like Derek said. Did anybody see that movie? It's supposed to be Sony's first R-rated movie for the Spider-Man universe. I know you
I'll
saw
start.
it.
I'll start first.
I know you saw it, George.
Yeah, so I saw it. It was bad. It was very bad. Just I felt like they were trying to. There was too much stuff going on for me. Like too many different plots going on. And I think the biggest gripe for me was the actor Aaron Taylor Johnson playing Craven the Hunter. He is. I just can't picture him being Craven the Hunter. You know, I'm basing everything off like seeing Craven in the comic books, in the animated series, in the Spider-Man animated series, in the Spider-Man 2 PS5 game that just came out. And like just Craven is like this massive dude from Russia, just a hunter, and just seeing this guy is just like, because I mean he's British, he's not even Russian, so it's like he's playing like his Russian accent, he's speaking with a Russian accent the whole time, and yeah, it's just bad. I don't know. I couldn't sit there and watch it. It was terrible.
Jake?
Whoa, what was that?
That was the biggest groan that I could muster, because that is just. I had to rewatch a summary because I watched the movie and I literally could not comprehend what I was watching, because like George said,
Right.
there was just so much happening that I'm like, what is going on actually? I was lost legitimately, and upon review, I completely forgot Russell Crowe was in it. It's like you're telling me Maximus Decimus Meridius is in this? It's like, really? Okay. And their adaptation of Rhino was like,
Dude, I forgot about
are you-
Rhino.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
God, yes.
we have a rogues gallery of amazing Spider-Man villains getting this kind of treatment where it's like, why, man? This is just terrible. And with Craven, they've essentially made him a hunter of bad men. He's a vigilante. He kills bad people. It's like, what? No. What are we doing? Like George, you said it best, and he was even in Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. And from what I've seen in that game, I haven't gotten the chance to play it yet. But
Oh, you have to play that game. That game is
yeah,
so good. So
okay,
good.
great. And comparing that Craven to Aaron Taylor Johnson is like, again, apples to oranges. There's no way that's the same character, because it's almost like a Frankenstein of Batman and Craven, and only by looks. Let me say that, only by looks, but and a couple of other like more stupid characteristics, but it's just nothing. They did so much and accomplished absolutely nothing, which is the worst part. It was a 2-hour nothing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What you think, Derek? Did you see it, or did you do a summary for this one?
I watched the summary, and it's pretty much my same critique about the movies. It's like you have a Spider-Man adjacent, villain that's, put in a more anti-hero role, which I think is really stupid. Like, Craven, I don't know, it's just a movie. This movie shouldn't have happened. That's my like, to sum up my feelings. And then, like, because the movie it's poorly written, a lot of consistencies. Like, the villains, like, the Rhino was, like, I felt like they tried. I think it was better than the Rhino portrayal in the Spider-Man movie. I thought it was a step, personally for me, it was a step up. But it's just like, this didn't need to happen. Like, it's just, and like, gosh, I can't put into words, like, why?
That's pretty much what it is. Why? Why was this made?
I think that's the best word for it, honestly.
And even what's his name was in it too? The was it Chameleon or?
Oh yeah. At the end, yeah, like,
Yeah. So it's like, what the heck?
It's like, we're doing this, we're doing it, yeah.
What are we doing? That's what I was asking the whole time. Like, what are we doing?
Teasing
it was
for
just-
a Chameleon movie. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that in the entire Spider-Man universe, they literally had the entire Sinister Six except for Doc Ock
Yep.
and Mysterio.
And
Yep.
correct me if I can't remember, but I was like, in the movie, they show Craven and the guy that plays the Chameleon like they're brothers. Is that
Yep.
how it is in the comics?
No,
idea.
no.
Yeah, I was like,
No,
Okay,
it's
Derek.
not. It's
Yeah.
and I just no, like, no, they're
Yeah, that's
not
what I was
related.
thinking. I was like,
the whole, no, it's just all hamstrung together. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
we
That's
need,
what
we
threw me
need,
off, too. I
we
was like,
need an
wait a
excuse
minute.
to we need an excuse to introduce a character. Oh, actually, that's his brother. It's like, no, that's not.
okay, yeah,
It's like saying,
because I remember when I
like
watched it, I
saying-
was just like, what the heck? Sorry, to cut
It's
you
like
off.
saying
Go ahead, go
Captain.
ahead.
You're good. It's like saying Captain Kirk is Darth Vader's father. It's like, what? That doesn't even match. What are we talking about here?
It's like, yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I remember when I saw that, I was like, what? I was like, am I tripping? I was like, did I
mean, like,
miss
it's
something in
cool.
the comics?
Like, I'm all about like adaptations and like shaking
Yeah.
the story. Yeah, but this was just like, this was so like afterthought. Oh wait, we need a teaser for another movie. Crap, make him his brother. Make him his brother.
So you're telling me that pretty much Craven is kind of like a fan fiction of the Spider-Man movie, the Spider-Man comics, pretty much.
I wouldn't even call it a fan fiction. It's just like, hey, we need to make a movie. How much do you know about Craven? Nothing. You're hired.
And I think
How
the
much do you know
movie,
about comics? What's that?
sorry to
You're good, man.
cut you guys off, but I think I remember. So the movie was delayed for, I think
Yeah.
it was
2
during
years?
the COVID stuff, and then the strikes and everything. That it delayed the movie for a really long time, and then they had to do a bunch of reshoots and
It's because at first also
Changing
remember
up
that
the story and
they
everything.
were trying to aim it to a PG-13, and then Sony said, "Well, let's make it rated R."
Mhm.
I heard that too. I think I read
Yeah.
that they were trying to push it a PG-13, but then they
Yeah.
decided to go with the R rating.
Yeah, it was always a mess from the beginning.
It really was. But before we jump into Madam Web, I wanted to discuss Rhino real quick because apparently they just can never get Rhino correct, and like Derek said, like it's a step up to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Rhino. Why do you think they cannot get the Rhino character correct? Like what's going on here?
I just think some villains will never translate from comic or a cartoon to live action. It's like the look, the premise is just really stupid if you think about it in the real world. So it's like, let's leave this guy in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Rhino, I think if you try to adapt that, you're gonna end up with a CGI monstrosity. You're just gonna have a guy in a mocap suit, and they're gonna CG over that, and it's gonna look rubbery and messy, and it's like Derek said, it's just not gonna adapt well. It's just gonna look stupid, and I'm not too familiar with Rhino's origin story, if there is any, and it's just like at this point, does Sony even care? Like, even if they were going to try to adapt something proper for Rhino, they're probably just going to release some crap like, oh, Mary Jane and Rhino are descendants of Aunt May. It's like, what? Some Sony executive is going to watch this and be like, write that down, write that down.
I
I
mean,
want my royalties, Sony.
Oh my god.
Get this man his check.
Yeah, give it to him, dude. Jake, stop giving him ideas.
yeah, I
Dang
don't
it.
know what y'all
What's wrong with
saying,
me?
but Paul Giamatti was my Rhino.
Oh wow.
The Giamatti. The Giamatti.
Yeah,
Giamatti was my Rhino with the robot suit.
yeah.
Oh,
Boy, looking like a transformer. Put in the
a sweaty
insert clip.
transformer.
Oh man.
Insert clip now.
That was. You know what? Though?
Sarcasm.
I would actually watch Paul Giamatti's Rhino over this Rhino any day of the week. Honestly.
Yeah, Sam. Sam, send me this audio. I'll put clips in it.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. The main course, Madam
Don't
Web.
call it that.
No.
Talk about the worst piece of garbage I have ever seen in my entire life. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie as bad as this one. So, Derek, since you haven't started us off with the movie yet, would you like to start us off with this one?
Okay, so we have Madam Web, and it's like this is kind of like when you're reaching into like the bottom of the barrel. Like we're looking like not even like D-list, like E-list Spider-Man characters, and like we need to make something that's like Spider-Man but not really. And then you get Madam Web, and which is annoying because they took a really interesting comic book storyline and like butchered it into this movie and without explaining anything or even remotely delivering. And it's just a movie that like didn't need to happen, and like everybody in the movie knows that they didn't want this to happen. Like nobody wants to be here in this movie. It's like we're just here to catch a check. So it's bad.
Okay, this movie I did not watch it in theaters, and I'm so happy I didn't. I caught it on
Good boy.
Netflix, and sweet Jesus, I cannot believe. I have a review on Letterboxd. Y'all can read that review after after we're done here. And okay,
Read mine
anybody
too.
else go ahead and start it because I'm starting to get ahead just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'll second what Derek said. It was just didn't deserve to have its own movie. Like Madam Web is not that kind of character that needs their own solo movie.
Yeah.
The plot of the movie was so dumb. So that character Ezekiel, I think his name was, had spider-like powers. So not really too familiar with even his character in the comics.
So
He's trying to kill the. Like he's having all these dreams and visions of these spider women trying to kill him. So he's like, I gotta kill them first. And he's choking all these girls and
someone's fantasy, yo.
yeah. And I think what threw me off throughout the whole movie was the terrible ADR for that character. Like it was completely dubbed over. Like I don't know if you guys have seen The Room.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yep,
And
you
how
got it.
Tommy Wiseau dubbed everything, like all his lines over the film. That's how his character was, that Ezekiel character. Like none of his lines were in sync. Like everything was just dubbed over ADR. It was
Someone
just
got paid.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. I'm like, what? Yeah. And
So it's
anybody else? Yeah.
Columbia Pictures
Yeah.
presents Atami with Soul Production.
Yeah, pretty much. He was probably an executive
Jake, go right
producer or
ahead
something.
because I know you've
Mhm.
been waiting to say something.
Good freaking Lord. So it had been some time since I had seen Madam Web. I think I caught it around the time it was released. Completely forgot about it until Sam, you talked to me and you're like, "Hey, let's review Madam Web." Huh? And it's like, I got Vietnam flashbacks of this movie. Like, oh God, no. So I tried to watch it again, but then I felt like Obi-Wan watching the security tapes of Anakin slaughtering Jedi, where I was like, I can't watch anymore. I stopped watching and just booted up YouTube and looked up Penguin Zio's review of the movie, and he said it perfectly because it's like with Craven, so much was happening, but with Madam Web, nothing was happening. And then
Yeah.
when Ezekiel would come in, this spider guy with the worst comic book movie suit I have ever seen. He just comes in, does nothing, gets ran over, and then the plot continues. And Madam Web, the way she gets her powers, which yeah, they sort of try to explain at the beginning, where her mom and Ezekiel are looking for the spider to grant them powers, and the script writing sounds like it was written by ChatGPT or something to try to make it sound smart. And then he betrays the lady, and he's like, "No, the powers are mine," meh, and twirls his mustache and kills the mom, and then she's pregnant with Madam Web, and the tribe that's around her give birth to the baby or help her give birth to the baby, and then she has the powers. And the way they unlock is when Madam Web, she gets hit in the head with an ambulance, or she hits her head on an ambulance, and then she's like, I can see the future. Next thing you know, she can literally see everything
It's
that's
like, I am a
going
clay
to
form.
happen. Yes, I am the lizard queen.
Yeah.
So
Like that all
you know,
happened. Yeah.
yeah. As dumb as this sounds, I am not joking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, he's not embellishing. This is
I
literally
am
the movie.
not.
This is the movie.
of Madam Web released by Sony. It's that dumb. And then they don't even the girls. Oh my God, the girls. They were just there for their face card. They had no point. And the only time, and it's funny because I remember in the trailers, they show like all the lead actresses in their spider suits, and everyone thought, oh my God, these ladies look amazing, and we're gonna get some spider women fighting against the forces of evil. No, it's a throwaway scene in the last 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it was just the visions.
Oh please, no one's gonna care to watch. It's nothing. It is literally nothing. And Derek said it earlier. Nobody wanted to be there. Even on the press tours of this movie, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this movie sucks." They were just outright saying this movie is terrible. Nobody wanted to be a part of this. Nobody wanted to release this. They just needed to for the sake of keeping their stupid contract that they are never going to let go. And that's the only thing that I could somewhat respect Sony for, because it's like, you know what? While they are releasing crap, they are never going to give Marvel back the rights to Spider-Man, because the moment they do, bankruptcy. They are not going to get money. And so Madam Web, just disgusting. That's all I got to say.
What about the baby Peter Parker in the movie?
Oh
What
God!
about
Don't get me
it?
started. That was like such a
What about
like.
it, George?
Okay. If you want to get
Go
real
ahead, Dave, go
upset,
ahead.
like, okay, you want to get real upset. They found a way. Like, so Madam Web, her partner is Ben Parker. You know, Uncle Ben that dies. So okay, mind you, okay, keep that in mind. She's psychic, so she knows something really bad's gonna happen to Peter Parker's uncle and his parents. So it's like, oh my god, you know all these bad things are gonna happen, but you did nothing. But you're the psychic. And I think in the movie she even jokes about it, like, haha, you know?
Suck to suck.
You'll be famous someday, haha. Spider-Man, yeah, I know already. Your parents are gonna die, your uncle's gonna die, haha. Like, oh my
You're
god.
gonna live a life of tragedy. Haha.
Yeah, Gwen Stacy dead, haha. Like, yeah, your life is gonna suck, but haha. You know, it's like, so it's like, yeah, the whole movie is like they tried really hard to like put things in the movie, but nobody actually thought about how it would actually connect. It's like, oh, because like again, the whole story arc is based on I think it's called the Inheritors arc, where there's people called the Inheritors that travel from dimension to dimension and kill Spider-Man to take their powers. So it's like they like someone read like the first like I don't know like paragraph of like a synopsis. I'm like, yeah, let's do that, and they never read the rest of it, and that's Madam Web. It's like,
Oh
oh,
my god.
without even having Spider-Man in it. So it's like and then just like the actress, the main actress was Dakota Johnson. Like she was like not wanting to be there and like doesn't know anything about comics, and it's just like, oh my gosh,
But she took that paycheck.
she got that
Oh
check.
yeah, you got that paper, man. And I just made a connection. Ezekiel is like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. He has a bad dream, so he's like, I gotta kill the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's literally it. Oh my god.
I gotta kill those. I have to choke these girls out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all he does.
Good Lord.
It's like he just
Yeah,
walks
it's
up to them and chokes
Like
them.
I'm like, who are these writers? I'm like, oh, the guy that wrote Morbius wrote this movie. Power
no
Rangers,
wonder.
Gods of Egypt,
Oh,
Dracula Untold.
no,
Which
that's
one?
right.
So this
Dracula
guy,
Untold.
it was two people. So they wrote Dracula Untold, The Last Witch Hunter. I never heard of that. Gods of Egypt, that terrible movie.
Oh,
Power
that's so
Rangers,
terrible.
Morbius, and then they also wrote Madam Web.
Bad track
Fire
record.
after dumpster fire. Sweet Jesus.
So they got in it for the cheap, I bet. Like, hey, you guys suck, but I'll make a few bucks.
I'll pay your
You know,
mortgage.
at least, and we talked about this in the last episode too about how Warner Brothers, shelves all their projects, and at least Sony is actually releasing their projects, albeit they're garbage, but at least they're releasing their stuff. Madam
I'll
Web
give
should
them
have been
credit.
one of those films that should have just never been released. Should have been shelved. It should have just been. It shouldn't even have been an idea. It should have just been destroyed the minute they wrote the script.
I feel like they thought like because I think this is around the same time that all the whole multiverse stuff is going around. So I thought they could get away with like, oh yeah, this is another like
We're part of the multiverse too.
we're part of this too. Yeah, haha. It's like, but they never like put the effort to like make the connections, or I don't think they even wanted to. They just wanted people to get into the theaters and assume and then not like with the whole idea that these Spider Women aren't even in the movie until like the actual like end prologue. It's like, yeah, just come see Sydney Sweeney. She's hot. Haha.
Oh,
It's like,
God,
Jesus.
yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. I'll never understand what they were thinking. Like you said, they ruined a really, really good character by releasing that film. It's a very complex character that deserved a better live action film than what we got.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez, man. We talked about
So-
all 5 of the Spider-Man movies.
Who's ready for the next Sony movie?
I think it'll come out in probably 5 years.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was talking to Derek and George, Jake. That the Spider-Man Noir show, the one that's with Nicolas Cage, that's going to be in this universe. They're saying
Yeah.
it's intended to be a part of this universe. So, like Derek said, we're gonna get more films.
Yeah. Who's ready for the Hydro Man movie?
Not me.
Oh man.
Oh God, not again. Sony, write that down. Write that down. Royalties.
Oh man. Yeah. So, in summary, what did you guys think? Is it a universe that could have been saved with better writers, or is it a universe that should have just never been made?
My expectations were low, and I'm still disappointed.
I think some of the movies, like the Venoms, could have been salvaged, but like Craven, Madam Web, Morbius, should have never happened.
Yeah. I'm in between. I don't think it should have happened, but then, the movies that were okay was making these villains anti-heroes, and I don't think that really makes a good movie overall.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, like,
Especially without Spider-Man in it.
especially without Spider-Man. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Especially without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Because I think the new Spider-Man film, the Brand New Day, I think that's what it's called. They're saying it's going back to the Spider-Man roots. Because he's not gonna have any of the Iron Man tech. It's gonna be literally him in his classic suit.
Yeah, that was.
Go ahead.
No, so yeah, that was actually a smart way to reboot the series. Like, oh yeah, like. Yeah, it's just like a better way to reboot a series than to just like what they did with the Raimis and then the Amazing. Oh, new Spider-Man.
New Spider-Man, new universe. It's like we're sticking to the same guy, so he should be in his 30s by the time this comes out, and he should stop sounding prepubescent. So hopefully it's better. And I would like, if we're going to talk about future possibilities,
Let's do it.
I would like for them to delve more into the adult or adult life of Spider-Man, because Peter Parker in itself in the comics is like so much more than just a high school student.
Right.
He's the the inventor of Parker Industries, and he's like, I would even say he's as smart later on as Tony Stark, if not smarter. So it's like he hangs out with the Fantastic Four. He's like one of the better characters in all of Marvel. So it's like if we can go into that part of his life, that would be astounding. And I would have a little more respect for Disney Spider-Man if they do that.
Okay. All right. Now here's my question. I don't know. Do you guys remember in No Way Home the post credit scene where they showed the Venom symbiote in the bar after the Tom Hardy character went back to his universe? Do you think that we'll have a Venom come out in this one with that symbiote piece, or is that something that they're just gonna throw in there and just leave it alone?
So long as it's not that version of Flash Thompson, I'm good.
I think we'll get
Skinny-
Venom, but it's not in the next movie.
Okay.
So long as it's not this version of Flash Thompson. And I'm reiterating that for a reason. So you can pull the image up right now. See, viewer, this is not Flash Thompson. This skinny fella, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just don't like, I obviously don't like that. Because there is no way you can look at that and say, oh yeah, that's Agent Venom. Like, excuse me? No, it is not. I can assure you.
Okay, so since we're talking about the sub characters of that No Way of the Spider-Man Disney films, so his best friend is supposed to be the Hobgoblin in the comics. Am I wrong about that, or am I right?
You're right. He's Ned Leeds.
Right.
He's the Hobgoblin. Yeah.
So well, since y'all know more about the Spider-Man lore than I do, do you think that could be something that could be featured in this film? Maybe since the Ned character kind of forgot about Spider-Man.
How?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't like the way he is in the Disney movie or in the Disney Spider-Man movies. Like, I don't think it would really have to take something drastic to make him like turn heel. You know what I mean? Because he was sort of like he was the guy in the chair, friend to
He's the goofy
Spider-Man.
side
Yeah,
character.
his goofy sidekick. Like, it's gonna take a lot for him to turn heel in that sense and become a villain. I just don't see that happening.
You don't see
Yeah,
that?
I think it'd be too forced. Like,
Yeah.
because like again, like Peter Parker's BFF, and like even in the series, he showed no like signs of like being like that type of person. So I think you'd have to do something like George, it's like drastic to even get that, and I think to me that drastic would just kind of like not be good for the movies.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. What do you think, Jake?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Considering, again, what we've been saying, how he is in these series of movies, someone would need to kill his grandma for him to become the Hobgoblin. Like, as funny as that sounds, like, in all sincerity, someone like inadvertently Spider-Man would need to be responsible for his
Yeah.
grandma's death in order for him to be like, you know what, screw you, Spider-Man. And Norman Osborn is me like, I'm somewhat of a high school student myself, and trains this guy. I don't know the Hobgoblin story, I'm just speculating, but at this point, that's the only thing that I feel like would be the only way for them to truly implement Ned as Hobgoblin is Spider-Man would need to be inadvertently responsible for Grandma's death.
Okay. All right. And then
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna jump into this topic. Go ahead. Say what you gotta say.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I think there's more potential characters to put into this movie, and not really like you can get away from that character, from Ned Leeds, and then bring in different villains that can fight against Spider-Man in this new movie.
Okay. And then the other thing I was gonna mention was that I also read that I think the redhead girl from Stranger Things, I always forget her name. She's been cast in this film as an undisclosed character. I don't know what y'all's theories are. I think it might be a Mary Jane character at this point, like an actual Mary Jane Watson,
I hope
I'm done
not.
with Mary Jane.
or a Gwen. I don't think it'll be a Gwen.
No, I
Stacy.
don't. It can't be MJ because Zendaya was the sort of
Yeah.
MJ. in
Zendaya's
the-
the pseudo MJ.
yeah.
Which
Yeah, I don't. Plus the age difference. She's like really young.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Her name is Sadie Sink.
There you go. That's her name. Yes. So who do you, what would they put her in as then? I mean,
Gwen?
Let's see. How old is she?
I think it's
Sadie.
still be young. Shows she's
Sadie.
23 on here.
Oh wow, she's older. I thought she was like 15. My bad.
she looks like
Jesus. Oh Lord.
she looks like a kid, but she's in her 20s.
To be fair, so does Tom Holland.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom's 28. Good grief.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's almost 30.
He's my age?
20. Yeah, so is Zendaya. Yeah, 1996. Wow,
Good frickin' Lord.
almost 30. Yeah, we might get that grown-up Peter Parker you want because yeah, they're there. Like,
They better. I mean, if they try to still implement like 10 years from now, Tom Holland still looks the same, and they're like, okay, this is taking place immediately after No Way Home. It's like, oh, screw you.
that's wild.
Oh man, dang. All right, guys. Well, in closing, is there anything else you guys would like to add? Let's start with Jake. Let's start off with Jake in closing.
You can't have a Sony Spider-Man universe and not have Spider-Man. It is the stupidest idea in the world, and it's even stupider that it's still somewhat making money. And we're never going to see the end of it because of that. Because of you, Sam, because you keep going to the theaters to watch these movies.
I stopped after Morbius.
I blame you.
No, didn't you say you saw Let There Be Carnage?
He saw
Yeah,
Let There Be
I saw the
Carnage.
two Venom movies and then Morbius. I messed up.
He secretly
The two
went to
Venom
watch
movies came out
Kraven.
first, and then Morbius
Yeah,
came out.
Morbius was not the last one.
Yeah, so it was Venom, and then Venom 2, then Morbius, and then Madam Garbage, and then it was the last Venom movie.
I can't remember the timeline.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
All I know is that I saw
Who
3
cares
movies and I
about
gave
the
up after
timeline?
Morbius.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jake.
Anyways, my final thoughts. and I'll shut up after this, is yeah, you can't do a Sony Spider-Verse universe without Spider-Man and then expect it to succeed. So whoever at Sony is pulling the strings, you keep that tight leash on Spider-Man, because the moment you lose it, you're done. Your company, done. Your franchises, finito. So either come up with something new or give up Spider-Man, which I'm never seeing them doing that ever.
All right, go ahead, George.
I agree with Jake, and just give me Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's all I care. That's all I care about this.
Preach. Preach.
His final thought. He just
From all the
wants Beyond
Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, just give me Beyond the Spider-Verse. I've been waiting for that movie, but yeah, I don't got nothing else to say
All right, Derek?
besides don't support Madam Web and Craven and Morbius.
Yes, Sam.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to pay for garbage. I'm just kidding. I don't think this is the end of the line for these type of movies. As long as Sony still has the rights to Spider-Man and Spider-Man is still profitable, then we will continue to see like the slop along with the good. Again, there are good things coming out of this. You know, you got the Spider-Man games and then the Into the Spider-Verse and then other side like animated projects and series. But yeah, until Sony decides like they don't want the rights anymore, this is an inevitability that we're gonna get these garbage movies.
Jeez, man. I guess it's just gonna be a freaking heap after heap. But there's hope, like you said, with the games, with the cartoon, with the animated film.
Play the
Spider-Man
games.
Noir.
Games are really good.
Heck yeah! Like,
Great stories too.
I wish they would like just stick to that. Just give me
Like
that.
those stories can be movies, man. Like those are good. Those
They
are.
could.
Like they can make those into movies. That'd be awesome.
If you guys haven't played Spider-Man 2 on PS5, I would highly recommend it. It's such a great movie, such a great game. Jake, get to work on it.
You got it.
All right, guys, this was fun. I had a blast. Like honestly, I got the reactions y'all wanted, especially with Madam Web. I that's the one that I really wanted to delve into, and you guys did it. You guys did it. So thank you for that.
You hear the sirens outside?
Yeah,
That's the police coming to arrest you for watching the Spider-Verse movies. The Sonyverse movies. They're going to arrest you.
collect.
They're
Yeah.
coming to claim.
You're
me 'cause
getting
I almost lost my
swatted.
seven. I'm being swatted. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to waste my money watching those three freaking movies. But once again, guys, Bat Night, Hype Line Supply here in Banglo. You can find all their socials in the description below. I'll have them placed on there. Please give them a follow. Awesome content. So, once again, thank you guys so much for joining me in the second episode.
Yeah, no problem.
Tune in.
Yes,
Tune
sir.
in next week on the next episode of Movie Talks 3.
Got a little hint for you guys on that one. It's all about the Schwartz.
The Schwartz.
I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, y'all have a good night.
Later.
Laters. It's a
Later.
Madam Web sequel.